You came anyway?
Howdy there, y'all. Welcome to another episode of George Reviews. In this episode, we'll be talking about a film that just dropped on Netflix. I'm thinking of Ending Things, written and directed by the GOAT, Charlie Kaufman, starring Jessie Plemons, Jessie Buckley, and Toni Collette.
I guess I was thinking about time.
Really?
Like we're on a train and it takes us where it takes us.
You can always jump off a train.
Movies.
Fill my brain with lies to pass the time.
Everything wants to live, Jake. Even fake, crappy movie ideas want to live. Like they grow in your brain.
So this is a new film by Charlie Kaufman, who has gone to directing with the likes of Anomalisa and Synecdoche, New York. And of course, he's a well-renowned screenwriter for such great films like Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He is definitely one of my favorite screenwriters. He is the most important screenwriter of my generation. That's how I personally think. I was kind of coming of age during the time of Being John Malkovich from 1999 and really cemented my taste and my palate in terms of what films that just really connect with me. And Charlie Kaufman is just the greatest of all time, and he's really coming to his own as a director. Full disclosure, I have not yet seen Anomalisa or Synecdoche, New York. I know it seems kind of weird, even though I'm praising them, because to me, they do feel like good films. They've been on my watch list forever. I know I'm trash. I'm a fucking fraud. What the fuck am I doing? Just fucking yell at me, dislike this video. I deserve it. But with films like Being John Malkovich and Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine, his voice really kind of filters through those films, even though they were directed by Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry, respectively. His voice just is covered in those films to me. Fucking nails everything he wants to say, and it portrays in the dialogue and the action so beautifully. He's one of the best contemporary artists, even though he's been in the business for over 20 years. Charlie Kaufman's great. I love him to death. I love his work. He's just so inspirational and profound to me. And I knew that the second I saw Being John Malkovich, and I knew that would be more cemented through I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is such a beautiful, brilliant masterpiece of a film. I know that might be sound, I'm like overhyping it. I'm not. I watched it twice to make sure that I knew how I really feel about this film. And sometimes you need to watch a film a few times to really to form somewhat of an opinion on it. And for this review video, whatever you want to call it, this is going to be way the fuck all over the place. This is going to be pure insanity. I don't consider myself a critic or even a reviewer. I just like talking about films and expressing that through the format of YouTube. This review is not going to be scripted. I have very few notes. It's just a lot of things I'm going to blab out on the screen, and you can just take that for what you will. But needless to say, I love this film. It's my favorite film of the year so far. This film has a lot of overwhelming things. It kind of starts out in a good way to kind of build you up into the insanity that follows throughout the film. This one really invoked a really uncomfortable feeling, but in a very good way. One that was welcome. It made me anxious, maybe kind of on the edge of my seat. Not in the most traditional sense, but in the way that I was just eager to see where are you taking me? Just, you kind of have to let it wash over you. All right, so that's all fine and dandy. There's a lot going on for this film. This film is packed with so many little details. Well, what is the film about? Well, George, you seem really excited about this film. Well, what the fuck is the film about? Well, I'll fucking tell you if you just fucking let me say it. The script was adapted by Kaufman based on a novel by Ian Reid, but Kaufman really cements his own style that we're really familiar with, but in a completely new form. And to my knowledge, Kaufman really went in his own direction with the source material. And if you've seen Adaptation, you know that Kaufman likes to go to his own extremes when adapting other people's works.
Sounds exciting.
So, the film is about a young couple. A young woman, played by Jessie Buckley, goes with her boyfriend Jake, played by Jessie Plemons, two Jessies, which is kind of a weird coincidence in terms of some of the context of the film. So they're traveling to Jake's parents' secluded farm. Jessie Buckley's character really starts to question reality of things, what she knows about him, what she knows about herself. Everything becomes very hazy in the film. Time is not really forward in the traditional sense, in the traditional narrative sense. Things are going in and out. Time has really no meaning, and it's really hard to describe because Kaufman puts these little details in, and he kind of plays with time as a concept within the editing, and he does so shown this really brilliant and, I don't know, almost a deconstruction of narrative, I think. I'm not sure. But that's the basic premise of the film. And I'm going to be keeping this review mostly spoiler-free. It's going to be a spoiler-light type of video. I will talk about maybe some ideas and concepts very briefly. But once they arrive at the parents' house, things get very, very, very strange, and it just gets stranger and more. It goes hard in the ambiguity and the surrealness, and it just kind of goes off, and you really got to be on board. You really got to just letting go of what things mean, or letting go of the need for expository information. You know, this film is going to give you some things, but it's not going to give you a lot at the same time. This film really forces you to really examine it on a molecular level. You know, you have to really just look at every little detail. The more Jessie Buckley's character questions reality, the more you question reality of a film. You question if these characters are actually really characters in the world of the film. You really have to just examine it. It's a lot to take in. And at the point where it kind of lifts off, you really need to check your inhibitions at the door. And when I say inhibitions, I mean, you know, what you know about films, what you're conditioned, because we're all conditioned, you know, for the most part. Most films are in a 3-act structure. No, this is sort of in a 3-act structure. I'm sure you could deconstruct it and pinpoint which is plot point 1, which is plot point 2, and things like that. It's more of an experience. And some people are not going to like this. You know, some audiences are going to be just frown upon this film. They're going to call it pretentious and weird and nonsensical. And yeah, those are, I don't want to say legitimate criticisms, but I mean, those are kind of a natural reaction to what the film presents. But if you just really sit down with it, if you just really let it take over you and just what kind of emotions and things that it invokes within you, I think you're going to have a really great experience. Even on my first viewing, I was confused as fuck. I did not know what I just witnessed. I had a few ideas, and upon digging and different quotes and interviews with Kaufman and some of the initial thoughts and meanings I thought the film had were kind of clarified with that, and some things I couldn't even think of. It was just, it evokes so many strange and unique feelings. And again, those words do not give it justice, because this film does so much, and you really gotta pick your brain off the floor. It's literally a mind fuck. It is a mind fuck, but there are things that connect. Everything connects. Every little detail connects within this film. It connected me on my first viewing, and it connected even more with me on my second viewing. In fact, I recommend watching it the second time with subtitles, because you get the really hints of different dialogues and the detail in the words and what deeper meanings a lot of the lines have. There are different visual cues in film that have a deeper context later on. There are certain lines that have a deeper context throughout the film. There are certain names that are brought up again and again and again, and you really have to kind of focus in on how it's being delivered and what kind of conversation the characters are having, because the film demands explicit attention. Every detail is vital. It's very, very fucking important to really just look at it and examine it again and again if you really want to connect with this film. A lot of people won't want to connect with this film, but there are ways that the dots connect. The dots connect in this film, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but there are so many connections within this film that seemingly connect with other things that you find wouldn't connect, or, you know, your mind wouldn't think it would connect. I'm not trying to sound like a weirdo who just is obsessed with this film, because this is just my initial feelings of everything, and it's very overwhelming. It's hard to put certain things into words. On a technical level, this film is amazing. From the cinematography to the production design to the costuming to the visual style, the movement of everything is just so brilliantly crafted. Kaufman has really just excelled, not only as a brilliant screenwriter, but a master filmmaker who has just such a grand vision and knows how to execute that vision. And a lot of filmmakers, you know, will have these very ambitious ideas and can't really follow through with the execution. Kaufman just nails it on the head with the execution. It is just all around amazingly beautiful to look at, and really captivates this really surreal, ambiguous, amazing experience. The performances from Jessie Plemons to Jessie Buckley, two Jessies, which is kind of a weird coincidence when you start to think of some of the implications of the film or the hidden meanings of the film. And Toni Collette, it's marvelous as always. And I'm kind of new to Jessie Buckley. I've not seen her in many things before. Jesse Plemons, of course, from Breaking Bad, The Master, Fargo, a bunch of other things. I've always enjoyed his performances, but he is really nuanced and has to do so much by conveying so little. His performance is very restrained. And Jessie Buckley, on the other hand, is so vast and sporadic in her performances that, she takes on different kind of personalities and different characters all within the same character. Or is it the same character? That's something interesting to bring up within the context of the film. I love the cinematography and the colors and how there are subtle changes in the wardrobe, and the look and wardrobe of the same characters kind of change subtly throughout the same scene. You have to really pay attention. The details are really important. There's a big picture here, but there's also very important details that you really have to focus on. And this gives it so much rewatchability. I mean, I love films I can rewatch and re-examine and get something new every time. I've only seen it twice, and I can't wait to rewatch it again. There's just so many subtleties within that sprinkle throughout. And Kaufman is just a master at this point. He is a master filmmaker, visionary. And I'm speechless. I'm in awe of his talent, probably more so than most contemporary directors working today. What's also interesting about this film, it is loaded with different cinematic and literary and articled references throughout the film, art and reflecting on art and how art kind of transforms us as human beings or as individuals. Really plays a big role in a lot of the larger hidden, I'm not even sure if it's that hidden because it's really there. If you pay attention, it's there. Just watch the film, pay attention. It makes you want to look at those references and how they reflect the bigger picture of I'm Thinking of Ending Things, whether it's the musical Oklahoma or the film A Beautiful Mind. There's just so many different things that contribute to the larger picture of I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is such an amazing kind of achievement of how we're all influenced and inspired by different things and how they kind of combine to the film as a whole. It's just really mesmerized. I never really seen anything like it done before in terms of infusing all these references together. I'm not the biggest fan when it comes to referential films, referential TV shows. I mean, kind of obnoxious. It's like, oh, remember that, you know that. Oh, this does it in a very intelligent and nuanced way. That's not beating you over the head. There's no explanation. There's no expository moments that drag on the film. It's all visual and it's all connecting in its own subtle ways, but you really just, I would say, bewildered throughout, but not necessarily in a negative fashion, not in a negative way. I really feel like it adds to the film and it adds to wanting to investigate and re-examine and go through the film over and over again. That just connects so much together. I'm Thinking of Ending Things is just so radically experimental and surreal and gave me everything that I want out of film. When it comes to the abstract and surreal art house type films, I mean, those are the ones that linger within me the most. Those are my favorite types of films. Kaufman really plays with themes of morality and failure, which is something that we've used to been seeing in his other films, but he definitely portrays it through different points of views and transforms it visually in a different way that I don't think we've seen before with any of his other works. And this film to me really reflects how we connect with art and how we are shaped by that art, whether it be in film, literature, theater, music, etc. How it shapes us into who we are and how we reflect on it with past experiences, how we kind of live through the art that we love and how we express that through our lives, how we hide ourselves within our fantasies and what we see in our lives as we like them to be through that art and piece of film or literature. With a lingering mystery that connects so many different nuances that really paint a bigger picture on the canvas visually. And I think Kaufman excels at that. I love his work. I've always been a lifelong fan since being John Malkovich, and that's really never going to change. I want to rate I'm Thinking of Ending Things 5 out of 5 stars. It's a perfect film. I feel like he accomplishes everything that he sets up and what he's setting out to do with this film. Everything connects. I have really no criticisms to speak of. As crazy it gets and crazier and strange and how you question the reality of the film, I think that is a beautiful achievement cinematically. I think he excels at all that. Plus he puts the audience to work. We really have to look and go deeper and go into the unknown within ourselves of what we know about film or how we experience film. I feel when a filmmaker really challenges the audience like that, I more than welcome that. I just think it's a really beautiful thing and I love it. Anyways, that's really my review for I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I hope you all will give it a chance, give it a watch, let it wash over you, and hopefully you want to watch it again. But what did you think? Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe if you be so kind. My name's George Ray. I want to thank you here for tuning in to this review. Please remember to keep calm, keep cool, and embrace great, weird, challenging cinema. I'll see you in the next one.